Hey everyone, I'm Matt.
Hi, I'm Desiree.
And we're bringing you this week's Rising Tide West Coast Swing Guide.
This week on the guide, we are starting a new series via request on footwork practice. So we're going to get into triple step variations our first week, delayed one variations our second week, then dance those in combination for the third and fourth weeks before putting it all to music. Tonight, Matt is going to go over those 3 triple step variations, then I'm going to go over them in a basic push break to show you how it works in a pattern.
The first variation that we have for you today is our basic hook behind triple step. I'm starting with my right foot. I'm just going to do a little hook behind, replace my weight, and then step side and slightly back. Same thing with the left foot, hook behind, replace, step side and slightly back. Biggest thing with this variation that we want to be careful of is that we don't just let our sides swing open and closed without any control. We can use this for rotation, however, we want to be really precise about it. For my basic version, I want to keep my shoulders facing more like straight forward. Our next variation is a cross in front. I'm going to be crossing my right foot in front, replacing my weight back to the left, then stepping side and slightly back. Same thing with the left foot, cross in front, replace, side and slightly back. Biggest thing to be careful of with this variation is that when I cross, I don't want my foot to be pointed straight forward. I want to make sure that my foot is nicely turned out in these cross moments on either side. The last variation is our push and cross. I'm going to push out to the side with my right foot, slide the left foot back, and cross my right foot over. Same thing with the left, push out, slide, and cross. Just like the previous pattern, I want to keep this crossing foot really nicely turned out. I also want to make sure that I slide my previously standing foot a little bit backwards so that I can stay on a straight line for this variation.
How do these look in a pattern and why do we do them in a pattern? Well, first, they look just a little different if danced really basic in our normal patterns. A hook behind barely looks any different than a normal triple. But what we can do is we can shrink and expand the slot with this motion, making the slot thinner than larger, if we really take that 6 or that final step out more. Another fun thing that feels very natural to followers and you might want to play around with in the hook behind is really, like Matt said, with control to open up as you hook behind an anchor, which allows you to really play with this opened into closed rotation angle on the 1. For our cross in front, we're going to, again, very basic, just looks a little different than our regular anchor, but we can also, again, use this to make the slot thinner than larger, and we can also really, really play around with under-rotating and over-rotating in that variation. For our final, the push and cross, we get to play with the slot size by opening it and closing it, then play around with our into the 1, which we'll get to next week, because our non-traditional leg is in front. So we'll talk more about that later.
That was your guide. Thank you everyone for tuning in. You can check us out online at mattdavisswing.com. We're also on Facebook, YouTube, Instagram, and Twitter as Rising Tide Swing Dance Studio.
Bye!